for the first time ever, we will be turning on a baseball game, and the Seattle Mariners, if they win, will be headed to the World Series. We have never, ever seen this. A game where if the Mariners get a W, they are in the World Series, and we will be watching that on Sunday. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. They did it. They defeated the Jays at home 6-2. Easy, right? And it never in doubt the whole way. They take a 3-2 series lead, and they are a win away from the World Series. Before I go any further, as always, smash the like button, that thumbs up, hit it for me. You always do a tremendous job of that. Subscribe if you're new or lurking. We're knocking on the door of 5,300 subs. Let's get that tonight. And don't forget to leave your comments on the team and the game down below. Channel members contest info will be out tomorrow. It's going to be the same contest as before, but it'll be for game 6. So it'll be whoever's the last Mariner to get the hits. But just be on the lookout for the post will be up tomorrow morning. You know, listen, first 2 games this series were frustrating. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. You had every right to be frustrated by them. But I woke up this morning and I felt like I was about to sing the Sopranos intro there. And, you know, it just kind of hit like it's 2-2, right? The series is tied. And I know I'm a broken record, but like Seattle lost game 2, which is something we thought they might do, and then split the first 2 at home. Like, it would have been absolutely fine. You know, it's going to be tough. It's going to be difficult. The Blue Jays were not just going to let you roll over and sweep them. They won the most games in the American League this year. The one thing you couldn't do was, after winning 2 in Toronto, get swept at home. Everything else gave you an opportunity. If you won the first 2, great, you're moving the World Series. If you lost the first one, won the next 2, great, you're going to the World Series. That, of course, would have been ideal. But you had to get one. You had to get one, and they did. They got one, which means they will play to go to the World Series, which puts them 1 win away, 1 W, 1 Logan Gilbert gem, 1 Cal Raleigh bomb away from the World Series. This is why you acquire a Eugenio Suarez. What a great moment. What an absolute, again, T-Mobile just absolutely on fire again. Man, give us more games in T-Mobile, please, because, oh my God, and I know I'm not there, but these people, they deserve it. Like, man, you guys were amazing. Again, that home run that Geno hit, I've never heard it louder. I mean, hopefully you guys could hear me from Arizona. I'm pretty sure my neighbors did. We might have gotten some knocks at the door because, oh my gosh, I was loud. When they won the game against Detroit and walked it off, there was this feeling of just, oh my gosh, we're moving on. This one felt more like, because the Jays were just crushing you at home. Everything was just not going right. Even this game, you get a 1-0 lead. Springer hits the double. Then Clement gets the single, and Dom makes the worst throw I've ever seen. You can't get Alejandro Kirk out at home. Dom hits that ball that goes foul by 0.2 inches. And just nothing is going right for us at home against the Jays. And then that 8th inning happens. And who else to start off? Who else to start off but the AL MVP? Who else would do it? It's Cal. What a postseason for the dumper. You know, listen, the most important thing is the Mariners winning. But, you know, I just wanted personally to see Cal have a great postseason. I didn't want to hear, look, Cal didn't do it in the playoffs. And I know that doesn't equate to the MVP votes because that's regular season. But he's kept it going. I mean, and it hasn't just been home runs. It's been everything he has done this postseason. The at-bats were so good in that 8th inning. Polanco and Naylor grinding out those walks. Hey, Randy took one off the elbow. Perfect, right? He hasn't had a great postseason, but got it done there. And that is why you acquired Geno Suarez. I said it a lot, right? Like, Geno doesn't have to be great down the stretch for you to win the AL West, for you to get in the playoffs. You're not looking for him to necessarily duplicate what he did in Arizona. It would be great if he did, but that's not what he has to do. If he can just have a few big games where he just gets hot and runs into a few and gets on, like, it's going to matter. It's going to give you that boost, right? Like, Geno has not had a great postseason overall, but you know a game like this can happen with him. I mean, I feel like every week I've said maybe Geno can just get a little hot and get into one. He did today. He hits the solo home run off Gausman, and then he hits the grand slam, which just completely opens it up in the 8th inning. That's what you needed, right? You just need Geno to have a couple games. This team has some streaky hitters. Hopefully Randy's next, right? Randy can get going a little bit maybe in Toronto in game 6. But that is why you had a guy like Geno. You didn't bring him over to necessarily be your catalyst. You brought him over to just be a thumper that can have some big games. Of course, I'd love for him to be a catalyst. I don't think he was great since he was acquired. But there you go. He didn't have to be, right? Like, he did what he did today. The Mariners are now 1 win away from going to the World Series. One more win, and they're moving on to the World Series. This is why, like, despite losing those 2 games, series was still tied. And I don't know what's going to happen in Toronto next. It's going to be very tough. That crowd's going to be into it in Toronto. They are not going to just go down easy to end their season. But the Mariners are in good shape. They're 1 win away, despite everything that's happened. You throw these 5 games into some, machine and it spits them out. The Mariners have won 3. They are closer than the Blue Jays are to going to the World Series. You got your best pitcher on the mound on Sunday in Logan Gilbert. You face the Jays' best today. Now, Savage has been fantastic, and I think he's going to be much better than he was in game 2, but you got Kevin Gausman out of there today. They've now beaten Gausman twice in the playoffs, and I know they didn't technically beat Gausman, but they've won 2 Gausman starts and 2 Skubal starts in this postseason. That's how you win. That's how you win championships. It is when those aces on the mound, it doesn't mean lights out for you. It doesn't mean game over for you. And the Seattle Mariners do it, right? Like, that they have beaten the best. There should be nothing to fear. I got to take a sip of water. Apologize. Every time this team is down, every time it's looked like, well, I just don't see it. They've come through. They have answered the call. And that's why, and again, listen, I began my post-game recap frustrated yesterday. It was a frustrating game. You had a right to be frustrated by it, 100%. But I still saw too much of it's over. No, it's not. You just got to get a W today at home. Get that win. This team's been great at home this year. You just got to find a way to get one. And you're up in the series. And you're ahead, despite how bad it's been the last 2 days. The script when you're the road team in an ALCS in a best of 7, you split the first 2 on the road, which the Mariners did +1. Then you come home and win 2 out of 3. That puts you up 3-2, and then you hopefully split on the road to finish. That's what the Mariners have done, right? I mean, yes, they did a little reverse. They won the first 2 on the road. And again, listen, now you got to go to Toronto. That's not going to be easy. That is kind of the price you pay for losing the 2 out of 3 at home, certainly. It could still come back to bite the Mariners. There's no question. Talked about against Detroit, right? Even having that game go to 5, that series go to 5, and winning it could still have some repercussions, right? Because you got less rest than the Blue Jays did. So nothing's over here by any means, but you're there. You're right there for it. And again, broken record, we all would have taken being up 3-2 before the series started. We all would have signed up for this. If I could have made a poll, and again, I'm just trying to get everyone to see it a little bit, right? And said 3-2. This is before game 1, going back to Toronto. Mariners are up. Do you sign up for that? Or do you want to play it out and see if they can win 4 out of the first 5? You would have taken this. You absolutely would have. This is a darn good Toronto Blue Jays baseball team. You would have signed up for this in a second, and here we go. How about Bryce Miller? How good has Bryce Miller been in this postseason? Again, this is not to toot my own horn when I say these things, and trust me, I get a lot wrong, right? The Mariners were my pick to win the World Series last year, and they didn't make the playoffs. So you can find tons of clips of me saying things that are wrong. But I talked about the redemption, right? The playoffs are a second chance for someone like Bryce Miller, who had a lost season. Not all his fault with the injuries. And look what he's done. He was great in Detroit in game 4. He was brilliant in Toronto game 1, and he was so good tonight as well. There's going to be some questions about the hook that Dan Wilson gave him. Didn't have a problem with it. They were starting to get a little bit more contact on Bryce. You put guys on. Brash is the right guy to go to with guys on base. He just doesn't give up a ton of hard hit balls, doesn't walk a lot of guys. I know the command control can sometimes be a little wild, but the walks are still low for Bryce. He's got the swing and miss stuff. I think it was the right decision. I didn't mind it at all. I didn't. I thought it was a fine call. I don't think leaving Bryson would have been bad either, to be perfectly honest, but I thought it was the right decision there. And in the end, it ultimately works out. The bullpen was great today. Brash does give up the double to Springer, but Brian Wu, how about Brian Wu? First appearance since that game against the Astros, which I'm not going to lie. That felt like another season ago. That series against Houston, because that was essentially a playoff series. That feels like just decades ago for the Seattle Mariners. And Wu was pretty sharp. I thought Wu threw the ball well. Listen, the Jays are a tough matchup for the Mariners pitchers because Mariners pitchers just love to get ahead early in the count. And the Jays are going to go after you. And Kirk takes the first pitch fastball, lines into right field. Then Erwin Clement gets the single. Listen, it would have been a big topic for me had the Mariners lost. That throw from Dom Canzone, bad. You've got to make that play. Dom, if you're not going to hit, now he did almost just miss a home run. But, man, if you're not going to hit, you've got to find a way to make a play there and make that throw. That's the first time all season that Alejandro Kirk has scored from second on a base hit, which is just incredible to me, even with 2 outs. I think with the single, not with the single, I'm sure he scored on a double in the gap or something. But that throw should have nailed Kirk. He was out by a mile with just a high school level throw there to the plate gets him. Again, Mariners overcome it, but it is something that they've got to get better at. And I think you put Robles back in right field. I know the numbers actually don't have Robles as that good of a defender either, but I do think he's better than Dom out there. And the bat's just not coming alive for Dom in the postseason. All postseason stuff is small sample size, but it's unfortunate, but I think it's the right call. I like Leo Rivas at second. I think you've gotten better defense. I don't think it's hurt Polo's bat. And I think Rivas has had some really good at-bats as well. I guess while we're talking about it, let's go ahead and dive into this box score tonight for this one. What a win. What a win. Bryce Miller, 4 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. It was earned, 2 walks, 4 Ks. Outstanding work today again from Bryce Miller. He threw 56 pitches, 39 strikes. Would have loved for him to get through 5. But again, like a month ago, you all would have signed up for this from Bryce Miller. So yeah, maybe Dan could have left him in. I wouldn't have fought it. But Bryce Miller is giving you everything you've needed from him in this postseason, man. I am so happy for Bryce Miller and what he's done. Regardless of what happens in Toronto, man, Bryce, saved his season. And again, not his fault. He was hurt. But, man, he has absolutely been dialed in. I thought Brash was pretty solid. That slider was a bad pitch to George Springer. But other than that, 1 inning, 1 hit, a walk, a strikeout. That strikeout to Vlad was nasty. And that saved it, right? Vlad does something there. This game might have been over. So Brash regrouped, got out of it. We're fine. I thought Brian Wu threw the ball pretty well. 2 innings, 2 hits, 1 run. It was earned, a walk, no strikeouts. I think if you get to a game 7, you should have Wu available again. He's gotten some work in, so you feel pretty good there that he can settle in and pitch again, and then definitely in the World Series if you get there. Gabe Spire with a shutout inning. What a catch by Randy at the wall there to rob I've almost said Jeff Clement, Ernie Clement of a home run. That would have been wild if Jeff Clement did that. That's it. That kind of got the vibes turned a little bit. You could feel it there with Randy making that catch because just nothing had gone right in this ball game for our Mariners. Nothing was going right. That's not to take away from what the Jays were doing. One of the reasons one's going right is just the Jays, great defensive team. They're making plays. They're good hitters. This is what they do. But nothing going the Mariners' way. And then Randy makes that catch, kind of turned the tide a little bit. Randy making the catch. And then Miles Straw not able to make the catch on the Cal home run. Boom, there you go. There's your flip. Not that he could have caught Cal's home run, but you know what I mean? And then great to see Munoz lock it down the 9th. Nothing silly. No couple first guys get on base, and it's like, oh, gosh, here we go. Clean, smooth 9th inning. And here's the thing when you win this game. Now, obviously, we know the big difference, right? It's up 3-2 versus down 3-2. I would not have given up down 3-2. Would have said, but it would have been very somber. My mood would have been like, listen, find a way to get game 6, and who knows? Game 7s are crazy. Anything can happen. Try to win on Sunday and just see. See if you can, steal one on Sunday and then leave it up to the baseball gods for game 7 a little bit. But it would have been tough, right? You would have lost all 3 at home. That plane flight to Toronto would have been tough. I'm sure the guys wouldn't have quit. You can't see ALCS. You'd still have been 2 wins away from a World Series. But it just would have felt tough. It would have been a very, very difficult flight for the boys. Now, what do we always say, right? That flight's a little better. The food tastes a little better. You all know that as fans. How many crazy Seahawks games have you watched? And then you go for that little bit of hungover, drunk McDonald's run after. That Big Mac hits better after a W. It just does. I took down a Jersey Mike sub after this game. It hit a lot harder than it did after. It hits a lot better after it does after a loss. That food on the plane tastes better. Those guys are going on the plane going, we're one win. We are one win away from the World Series. They are in great shape. They would have taken this before the series going back to Toronto 3-2. You're fine. You are fine, right? That like, yeah, this 3 games at home didn't go the way exactly how you wanted it to. Great. Neither did the first 2 in Toronto go the way the Jays intended it to. But you got the one. You got the one there, and you kept it going. So that's going to be a good plane flight for the guys. Let's look at the offense. You know, they do get 6 walks today. I thought they're at best. Let's go 5 hits, 6 walks, and 6 runs on the day for the Mariners. I think a hit by pitch as well with Randy. Sorry, one more swig of water. I apologize. Oh man, I'm not built for postseason baseball. Let me tell you that. I've been through a lot of postseason football. Postseason baseball is different. It is a different animal. And now, I mean, and listen, I was alive in 2000, 2001, obviously. I was watching those games, but it didn't hit as much as a kid. But now we're in territory that nobody's ever experienced. We can't go to the older Mariners fans like, hey, do you remember? No one's been here now. One went away from the World Series. So we are all in this together now. I thought some of the at-bats were a little bit better today against Kevin Gausman. Like, the last 2 nights were frustrating seeing Bieber and Scherzer shut them down. They deserve credit that they pitched well, but I thought the at-bats were all right. Early on, I thought they were spitting on the splitter pretty well. Gausman kind of got dialed in as the game went along. Thought he actually was missing with the splitter early and then settled in a bit as the game went along there. And there were some okay at-bats, and you got him out after, 5 2/3? The Jays pen, like, it's got some dudes. It's not an untalented bullpen, but it's had some issues. We talked about Brandon Little in the preview. A lot of walks. Gives up the home run to Cal. That's not something he does a lot. He doesn't give up a ton of long balls, but then he walks Polo. He walks Naylor. The Mariners were patient, and then he didn't hit Geno. Sir Anthony Dominguez did. He's had some control problems, right? Hits Randy. And then, we'll talk about Geno a little bit more here in a second, but it's a pen that, again, I don't think it's untalented. We've seen how good Louis Varland can be. Little can be really good. He can miss bats, and Sir Anthony Dominguez and Jeff Hoffman can be really good as well. So it's not an untalented bullpen, but it's had some warts. There are some warts there, and you got Gausman out with enough time. You were only down 2-1. The problem is the last 2 games, you haven't forced the Jays' hand. You haven't made it be difficult for Toronto the last 2 games. Even with their starters, they were able to leave Scherzer in and get one more inning out of him. Bullpen moves didn't matter. They're up 6-7 runs. So who cares what they did? You kept it close today. Even down, you forced them to have to play the chess game. And the Jays lost the chess game today. Julio 0 for 4. Julio back in the leadoff spot today. They dropped Randy down. I think that's fine. Randy's just off right now. He's not finding it. Obviously, you're going to play Randy. He's your guy. But I think you're going to get better at bats from Julio. Of course, you don't really get that today from Julio. He did hit a couple balls hard. He had one, I think it was off Gausman, or I don't remember. I think it was off Gausman, hit it pretty much on a line to center field. But not a great day for Julio. Let's see if he can get back going in Toronto. The dumper, 2 for 4. I don't even remember the other hit. Oh, he had the double that Barger kind of popped out of his glove. That's right. Cal was halfway to the cycle today. And then the big home run. It had to be Cal Raleigh, right? It absolutely had to be. Man, just absolutely fantastic. OPS up to 1.127 this postseason. He's doing it, man. The dumper has been amazing. Polanco's 0 for 3 with the walk. It was a big walk. Helped start the next rally in the 8th. He still needed that other run, right, to take the lead. Josh Naylor 1 for 3 with a single down the line and a walk. Randy 0 for 2. Did have the hit by pitch. Listen, if you can't get in the hit parade, at least take one and take your base to first. Geno, 2 for 3, 5 RBIs on the 2 home runs and a walk. How many times have we seen Geno in those spots? And it's like the strikeout or something like that, right? Where it just doesn't come through in that moment. Even some of the at-bats like against the Tigers in game 5. Not today, though. Today, Geno comes through. And man, a guy that was here in 22, that was a part of that team, a big part of the revival, a little bit of the Mariners. So happy for him, man. He's 1 win away from going to the World Series. JP 0 for 3 with a walk. Dom 0 for 4. And then Rivas 0 for 3 with a walk. I will say you're going to need something from that bottom of the order. Someone's got to get a little hot down there. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't care who it is, whether it's Rivas just being a demon working walks left and right. JP maybe finding a gap occasionally, Dom running into one, almost did down the left field line. But man, someone's got to get going that bottom order because it will hurt the Mariners here eventually, right? Like it's been one of the issues for them in this series, up until today when they take a 3-2 lead. You had the Jays bottom of the order producing. They're getting stuff from Jeff Clement, Andres Jimenez, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. They're getting production from those guys. The Mariners have got to find a way to get a little something from their bottom of the order as well. So one more sip of water. I should just pause it when I do this, but whatever. I got to tell you, it felt like the tide was turning a little bit in the third inning. Every third inning has been a mess. It's actually funny. The Mariners had a lead in every single one of these games at home. The Blue Jays do not have a wire-to-wire win in this series. Now, they crushed the Mariners last 2 nights. Scoring first doesn't mean a whole lot if you give up 5 runs the next 2 nights. But what have they had? The first game, Clement doubles and then Jimenez homers. The next night, Kiner-Falefa doubles, Jimenez homers. Tonight, and of course, it's always when they're interviewing Dan. Stop. I hate the in-game interviews with the managers. They're not insightful. You're not learning anything. Let them focus on the game. They're interviewing Dan. Of course, Kiner-Falefa doubles down the line. I was like, if Jimenez homers, I'm out. Like, it's just, I can't do this anymore. That's it. Jay's throwing in the towel if Jimenez. I wouldn't have, but you know what I mean. And he hits it hard, but lines into a double play. I'm like, are the tides turning? Are we finally getting Andres Jimenez out here in this spot? So, I felt that it was a little bit of a turning point. Listen, would have loved to see them win another game in this homestand. Absolutely. I'm not going to stand here and say 1 out of 3 isn't a little disappointing after winning the first 2, but you're 1 win away. You're 1 win away from the World Series. It's going to be very tough in Toronto. Absolutely. That crowd's going to be nuts. It's going to be wild. But I needed a win. I needed a win at home. You couldn't finish the year losing 3 in a row in a place where you've played such good baseball all season. That just could not happen for this baseball team. It couldn't. They had to find a way. That's why I posted what I posted this morning. Like, I woke up like they're not losing. Listen, I said it a little bit again. This isn't a toot my own horn segment. Again, you can go find plenty of things me being wrong. First thing I said when I came on after that game 3 was like, I don't see them losing 3 in a row at home. I don't see it. They've been too good in this ballpark to, in the playoffs, lose 3 in a row here. And they didn't. They made it close. They certainly pushed that theory as far as they could. But they got one. They had to get one here, and they did. Now they go on the road. We get to stress out game 6. I mean, listen, you lose game 6. You do have game 7 still. I mean, Blue Jays are going to have to win 2 in a row. Maybe a little bit of pressure off the Mariners now. Sometimes getting that win before the win is a little bit tougher, right? Because it's like you can taste it. You've all been there in your job, right? Or whatever it is. Like you're so close to that big thing, but you got to get this done first. And sometimes tough to get that thing done first because you're so focused on the other thing. Well, they got that first thing done. Wouldn't be shocked if they play a little looser and have a big game on Sunday. I really wouldn't. I think it's 100% possible that you can see this team just kind of dialed in now and focus, knowing that you just got to win a ball game. Just got to win a baseball game. Something this team did a lot of this season. Win one more. They've had good success in Toronto, just as Toronto's had in Seattle. Listen, you would have told me before series Toronto's not going to win a home game in the series. I probably would have argued that a little bit. But you got it, right? You just have to win a baseball game. Anything can happen in a baseball game. You can have 13 errors from the Jays defense. Who knows? I don't care how they do it on Sunday. Find a way. Find a way to get this done. And I'm assuming you're going to be facing the Dodgers because they are, let's see, did they finish off the Brewers yet? They did. The Dodgers are in the World Series. So 3 teams left. There is only 3 teams left to win a World Series. It's the Toronto Blue Jays, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Seattle Mariners. Those are the only 3 teams left that can win a World Series. There was no give-up time. There was no give-up time. Series was tied. That was it. Mariners are up 3-2. 1 win away from the World Series. How about we go get that one? I would like that. I would very much like that. Take care, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. One more.